Hi guys, my name's Jasmine Andrews and I was a participant of the Now and Next program in term 3 of 2017. I wanted to share some feedback with you about my experience of the Now and Next program, and specifically talking about my experiences in creating and achieving my goals, and some of the things that didn't work very well for me, and some of the things that have worked better for me, and things that I noticed that worked well for other people as well. When we set goals for ourselves, it's very easy to start to think that we've done this much, so now maybe we can actually do a bit more and a bit more. And so we never really feel happy with the success that we've made with our goals. And we tend to shift those goalposts. So we've not ticked off something that perhaps we have already achieved, because in our mind we feel that we haven't actually achieved it to the level that we now feel that we could be achieving, compared to how we felt we could have achieved it back when we set the goal, which is a fairly common habit, I think, for a lot of people to sort of set higher standards for themselves once they start making some progress. Something else that I noticed, that the goals that we set tend to fall into three broad categories. One is habit-based goals, where you're wanting to do something either every week or every night, or stop doing something. The second broad category is around milestones and abilities. That these type of goals often relate to our children, that we want our child to start walking without aid, or that we want them to start speaking in 3-word sentences rather than 2-word sentences. And the third category is first steps, I guess, is the only way I can think to describe it. Sort of the first time of managing to do something. My background is sort of in the corporate world and in lots of project-based stuff. So I've had, like many of you have, I'm sure, lots and lots of training about goal setting and smart goal setting. And during my peaked ability session, I thought I was doing such a great job of setting goals that were specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-bound, which is what the SMART acronym stands for. So I picked out goals that were easier to express in those terms. Things like, I will have my children complete their nighttime routine 3 times a week, or I will exercise 3 times per week. Those are sort of habit-based goals as well, and as I found out, they are actually really not great goals to have, especially in this setting of going into Now and Next, because the best kind of goals to have are the goals where you can actually do something once and mark it off as having been achieved. So that would be those sort of first steps goals. So as an example, I noticed that a lot of people had a goal of wanting to spend more time together as a family, and wanting to, and as a short-term goal, they wanted to spend perhaps a 1 day a week where everybody has a family outing together. And that's a sort of a goal that there's no end point. So there's no point to say, yes, that goal has been achieved, I have done this every week. Well, what's the time period that we're talking about? And have we failed if we forget to go out 1 week, or we don't go out because we're really still too tired to manage that on a weekly basis regularly? Much better to say that we will go together on a family outing for a half of a day, and that's a goal just to achieve that once. So that would be a first steps type of a goal. And I highly recommend that you, even if you do have a goal of wanting to do something weekly or 3 times a week or every day, that you also include a goal that is the first step towards that routine or that habit, by saying that just once we will take the family to the zoo, or just once we will take the family together to the beach, even if it's just for 15 minutes and then everybody cries and we have to get back in the car. I'll just leave you with a few other suggestions for goals that I found that a lot of people had in the group when I went through the program. The kinds of goals that are really helpful to yourself, but also things that are structured in a way that's going to be something more achievable and you can tick it off and move on to your next goal. Having that one family day is one that a lot of people were using. Going to bed early, for example, going to bed before midnight for once, or going to bed before 10 o'clock, is a really helpful goal. And just once is enough. You start a habit by doing something one time. And so going to bed just once this week is going to be enough for you to give yourself that shiny gold star or that leaf on the tree, to say that you've achieved that goal. And then your next goal might be to do it twice in the following week. With your children, you might want to try to encourage them to try one new thing. So maybe one new food this week, or try doing something slightly outside of the routine if they have a very rigid way of doing things, or trying to add one step as the basis of a new nighttime or morning routine, like maybe letting them try putting their own shoes on for this week, just for once, for one time. And another goal that personally I found was one that worked for me in the end. I wanted my children to be able to follow a nighttime routine every night, because I felt that was going to be one of the keys for household harmony. And again, that it was not a set time frame made it very difficult. So we broke it down to just the first steps, which was to prepare the chart with the steps of the routine. So I sat down with my girls and I used something that is in almost all homes and all offices, Post-it notes. I wrote down the steps on the Post-it notes with a Sharpie pen with the help of my girls. We decided together what the steps would be. We did sort of PEC style images on here, and just one or two words to say what the steps were. And I got them to stick them up on the pantry door, which is sort of the middle of our home, and put them in order that they would like to do that routine. And that we would look at that every night after dinner. So eating breakfast or eating dinner was the triggers for our routines. And when we'd have those moments, we'd stand in front of the door and say, okay, what do we do next? Obviously, because they'd had a hand in creating it, they knew what the illustrations were for. And what we found that after the first few days, they would come to me saying, Mummy, it's time to brush our teeth. We need to brush our teeth now. So we had a lot of success with that technique. So it just took things down to the basics after I'd gone and bought all this flip chart paper and everything to make fancy charts. Simple is best, and first steps is best. And if it's something that you can do once and tick off, then you're going to have an even better chance of being successful with your goals. That will build some self-esteem and some momentum, and you'll be on your way to achieving your bigger goals and your long-term goals. Good luck.